In this video, I'll go over the subject pronouns used in the Spanish language. Before we cover subject pronouns in Spanish, though, let's take a look at the subject pronouns we use in English. The first is I. We use this subject pronoun all the time. For example, we can say, I have a job. The next subject pronoun is you. Now, I've separated you into two parts, an informal you and a polite you. The English language doesn't really make this distinction, but splitting it up in this format will be useful when we get to the Spanish subject pronouns. For this you, the informal one, we can use this subject pronoun when referring to a friend or classmate. For example, I can say to my friend, "Hi, how are you?" Next is a group of commonly used third-person subject pronouns: he, she, and the formal or polite version of you. We use the first two, he and she, when referring to another person who is not a part of our conversation. The polite you is used when speaking to someone in a more formal setting, perhaps your boss at work. Going back up to the top of the table, our next subject pronoun is we. This subject pronoun is used when we talk about a group and include ourselves in the group. For example, you can be talking with a group of your friends and say, "Hey, we should all go to the beach tomorrow." This implies that the group and yourself should go to the beach together. The next one is the informal you that we talked about earlier, but plural. An example of this subject pronoun being used is perhaps a professor saying, "How are you all doing today?" He or she is speaking not to one person, but to a group of people informally. Finally, we have the plural third-person subject pronouns. We use they to refer to a group of individuals who are not a part of our conversation. For example, I could tell my friend, "I went to the beach with Bob and Mary yesterday. They had a great time." The last subject pronoun I'll cover is the plural version of the polite you. Let's say you're making a presentation at a conference meeting at work. Your audience is a group of executives. Clearly, you're going to be polite to them and refer to them with a sense of respect. This is an example of when we would use the subject pronoun. Now let's take a look at the Spanish versions of all of these subject pronouns. I'm using the same table format so that you can see the equivalencies between the English subject pronouns and the Spanish subject pronouns. The first is yo. As you can see, this is in the upper left box of the table, just like I is in the English table. I've done that on purpose so you can start to make the connection that I and yo are equivalent, and similarly for the other subject pronouns. The next is tu. This is the informal you we talked about. We use this when we're talking to someone we're close to, like a friend. Notice the accent over the you. It's really important to remember any accents. Not only can the word mean something completely different with or without the accent mark, but it's also there for another reason. It helps you pronounce the word. Wherever you see an accent mark, make sure you add emphasis to that syllable. The next is el. This means he. But without the accent mark, it means the, so make sure you don't forget the accent. Ella means she. Just like we talked about for the English subject pronouns, we use el and ella when referring to people who are not a part of our conversation or are not around. The polite form of you in Spanish is usted. Like we saw earlier, we use this in a more formal setting, like when talking to a boss at work or a professor at school. Nosotros is our subject pronoun equivalent to we. Vosotros is the plural informal you in Spanish, but this subject pronoun is actually only used in Spain. Finally, the plural third-person subject pronouns are ellos, ellas, and ustedes. These are just the plural versions of el, ella, and usted. Ellas is used to refer to a group of girls, whereas ellos can refer to either a group of only boys or a group of boys and girls.